Hello and welcome to another edition of Talkin' Tunes. I am your host, Frank Walsh. And as I've said before, ladies and gentlemen, I have had the good fortune of having some great entertainers on this show. But I am pleased to say that there are none better or more equal than this gentleman sitting to my right. You are going to hear some stories today about a true legend. Someone who has worked with some of the greats in all of music history. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Hopefully we're going to make you chuckle a little bit because this guy has some funny stories which we're going to get to. But a local legend, national legend, international legend. It gives me great pleasure to bring to you today Mr. Shor'ty Billups. Shor'ty, how are you, my friend?
Fine. I'm fine. Thank you.
My pleasure. I tell you, I am sincerely honored to have someone of your stature here in the show. And when we met and chatted at one of the performances that you did, and I invited you to come on the show, I was thrilled that you and your manager, Hattie, whom we'll talk about a little bit later, agreed to come on. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. But Shor'ty, the only disadvantage of the show is that it's 30 minutes. And with your history and your background and the stories that I'm sure you can tell, I think we should start getting right into some of them. So why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit about Shor'ty Billups and start anywhere you want. And I'll just fill in some of the blanks with some questions.
Okay, well, I was born in New London, Connecticut. And my folks moved me to Boston at 9 months old. So
do you remember that?
No. I've tried several times. Several times to recall that, and I just can't do it. But anyway, they moved here, and the rest of it is, like you say, history.
Now, you started taking up music at a very young age, you know, from talking with you and reading a little bit about you. I mean, you were just a little whippersnapper.
That's what I was.
How did you know that you had that talent? Where does that talent come from? Did you wake up one morning and said, "Hey, I want to be a musician. I want to be a drummer. I want to sing"? Or how did that come about where you recognized that you have the talent that you do?
No, I really didn't. I didn't recognize it too much, but apparently my grandmother did because she kept me on the piano. I started on the piano.
Right.
When I could barely reach the piano to, like to keep noise.
Yep.
A lot of people would say noise, and she thought it was music. So yeah, she tolerated me doing that, like 3 or 4 hours a day, and sometime I'd leave and go have a bite to eat and come back and be making that noise again. And that went on for years, until I was about 14. Yeah, I was about 14. I was. In fact, I was 14. I was 14 the first time I played on the road.
And you actually had no formal training.
No.
You just
self-taught.
played it by ear, or you heard something. You had
Right.
tunes in your head, and you just tinkled the keys.
Right.
It's amazing. It's
and
amazing.
I started out with Ruth Brown first. I don't know if you know her or not.
Who doesn't know Ruth Brown?
Well, I don't know. A lot of people don't. But anyway, I went on the road with her. Both of us were kids. She was a teenager, and I was also. And some other people heard me, and I went out of the country the first time when I was 15, USO show.
Right.
And my grandmother, she used to travel with me around the States here, but she was a diabetic, and she couldn't go out of the country with me the first time when I went out of the country. So she told me to go ahead and do a good job. I said, okay.
So you started out with Ruth, and how did you hook up with some of those many legends that you had met, where you started meeting some of those big players? I mean, back then nobody knew who Shor'ty was, nobody knew who Ruth Brown was. who were some of the people at the time who recognized you guys and said, "Hey, these two kids got it"?
People knew who Ruth Brown was because her record was already a hit.
Okay, her first one. Yeah.
That was already a hit, so they knew who she was, and anybody that was associated with her, that traveled around with her,
right,
they were automatically known, because and then people want to know, well, who is this? She said, oh, that's my piano player. At the time, I was playing piano.
Yep.
I wasn't
Yep.
playing drums, and they'd ask who was some of the other guys that were there. Said, oh, that's my drummer, and his name is Fred. His name, they called me back that time Shor'ty. Shor'ty down in Virginia. That's what they called me, Shor'ty in Virginia.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. Maybe we can cut in there right now. Where did it go from Shor'ty to Shor'ty?
Well,
with that little touch of class to it.
My name is Shor'ty.
It is Shor'ty.
It's Shor'ty.
Okay.
But back in the day, blacks would put a nickname on another black, and it would follow him to the grave. So that's following me to the grave. Shor'ty. Every time I go down there, say, hey, Shor'ty, how you doing? I said, I'm doing all right. And if up here, if somebody said, Shor'ty, I said, yeah, you talking to me? They said, no, I'm talking to the other one over there.
Now, where did you transition from the piano to the drums? Because I think more people recognize you as a drummer than as a pianist.
Well, I'm from a large family, but the house that I grew up in, I was the only male in the house.
Surrounded by women.
Yes, you had to put the toilet seat up. yes, you had to put the toilet seat up. And one of my brothers, he's younger than me. He's passed on now, and if I did it, he had to do it. So he heard me play the piano. He liked it. He said, I want to learn to play the piano. I said, okay, I'll teach you then. So I taught him to play the piano. In the meantime, I was still working, and with my own band. And he was getting ready. We were grooming him to be the piano player in the band, and I was going to get out front.
Okay.
So, but it didn't quite work like that. I stayed on the piano until he finally learned. But I was in New York, in Brooklyn. I was playing in a band in Brooklyn with a buddy of mine, King Charles, saxophone player, dynamite saxophonist. And we hadn't worked for about 5 or 6 weeks, and he came by my house and he said, hey, Shor'ty. I said, yeah. He said, get your clothes. We got a gig. I said, okay. So I went and grabbed my clothes and we jumped in the car. We were riding about halfway to the gig. I asked him, I said, what's the piano like in this place? He said, what piano? He said, I said, in the club where we're going. He said, there's no piano, you playing drums. I said, playing drums? I said, man, I can't play drums. How can I play drums? I can't even set them up. I don't know how to hold the sticks. He said, I'll show you. In 5 minutes, he showed me what to do. I did that.
And you picked it up in 5 minutes?
In 5 minutes, I picked it up. And we went to that club for one night. And everybody was having such a good time that the club owner held us over for another night. So I carried the drums home with me. And now, in the meantime, nobody in the band sang but me. I was the only singer there. So somebody in the audience said, when is somebody gonna sing? Everybody looked at me. I said, don't look at me. I said, because I can't play what I'm playing here. And I got to sing too. So he went into a Little Richard tune, Lucille. I don't think I'll ever forget it. And I was trying to find my way in there, to jump in there to sing. And unaware to me, I just jumped right in there and started singing, Lucille, and they hit the floor. Man, we Lucille them for about an hour and a half.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That one tune. So the club owner, he held us over, and I took the drums home with me, and I put them down in my basement, and we put them together. I put them together some kind of way. I don't know if I don't remember now if it was right or wrong, but it was right enough for me, for the neighbors to call the police on me 3 o'clock in the morning. So the police come and they said, we got complaints. I said, complaints about what? There's a lot of noise over here. I said, what kind of noise? He said, sound like somebody beating on something. I said, yeah. I said, I'm playing the drums, man. He said, they say it's noise. I said, you listen and tell me if it's noise. So I put a record on and I started playing with it. He said, it sounds good to me. He said, but keep it down a little bit.
Keep it down a little bit.
Keep it down. So they left, and about 30 minutes they were back there again. So because I didn't lock the door, so they just walked in, and he said, look, we told you to keep the noise down. I said, you said this is music. Now how is it noise? 30 minutes later, it's noise. He said, I said, have a drink, man. You guys have a drink. It was over on the bar. So they went over and poured themselves a drink, or 2 or 3.
Or 3.
Yeah, and they left again. They didn't come back and bother me no more. So long story short, I got 2 extra tunes that night. We went back to that same club and played. I had 3 tunes I could sing then. I got Lucille, like it was supposed to be done.
Yep.
And I got 2 more tunes. We went back then, we did that, and the club owner brought us back another night. Long story short again, we got 4 nights, because every night I would take the drums down, I'd carry them home, and I'd come back with 2 more tunes, along with the tunes that I already had.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of the drum thing for me.
Now, back then, when you were playing in some of these bars and when you started breaking in, I'm sure that you were getting paid top dollar, Shor'ty.
Oh, the money was better then than it is now.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I know back then, I mean, they were probably paying, with the wage thing the way that it was. What were they giving you for the band? $20 and 3 drinks. I mean, how did they pay you back then? Because the stories that I've heard, they'd just slip you a couple of bucks, and you can barely make a living, if at all, on what they pay you in some of those places back then. I've
never played for booze. First of all, I don't drink. I don't drink, smoke, dip, or chew.
Good for you.
I don't pop. I don't snort. I don't do
There's
none
a
of
lesson
that
out there, folks. Listen to this,
man. I don't do none
man.
of that stuff. I don't even drink coffee.
Wow.
The strongest thing I drink is a Coke or a Pepsi, ginger ale maybe.
Good for you.
That's the strongest thing I drink.
Good for you.
But the people that I played with, they were always older than me. Even when I was a teenager and I had my own band. I started off with my own band. That's how I got to play with Ruth. She heard me somewhere and told her dad that they had to have me. So she got me. But anyway, the people I played with were much older than me. I mean, I was like in my teens, early 20s, and the people I played with were like in their 60s and their 70s.
Oh, okay.
They were good and seasoned musicians.
Okay.
And I learned a lot from them, because they would always, if I did something wrong, they went during the break, they'd say, "Hey, didn't I tell you that wasn't the way that's supposed to go?" I said, "Yeah, but I played it." "Don't tell me you played it like that. You didn't play it like that." And I mean, we back in the day, I mean, guys would I mean, they'd punch you out back in the day. I was lucky. I never got hit. I've seen a lot of them get hit.
I bet you did.
During the break.
I bet you did.
They'd go out during the break and fight and say, "Hey, man, it's time to go back to work." They'd brush the clothes off. "I'm going to get you again when they take the next break." And they next break, they'd be at it again.
Wow.
But they never hurt each other. But they managed to solve a problem or a score or whatever, however you want to call it, with each other.
Little street justice with each other.
Yes.
Now let me bring it back a little bit, because again, as you can see, time flies. Let me just bring it back just a little bit. You mentioned you started off singing Lucille, but somewhere along the line you actually played with the guy who made it famous, Little Richard.
Yes, I did.
You played with Little Richard.
I did.
And how did that come about? And talk about some of those other famous people that you met. I know there's the Little Richards of the world, you know, the Wilson Pickett's, the Jackie Wilsons, I mean, on, and some of the other great blues plates. And I want to chat a little bit about that interesting twist of fate with you and Otis Redding.
Well, I owned an apartment building in Brooklyn at the time. And Otis, his MC, lived in that building. And they were in D.C., and Otis and his drummer had some kind of problem. Anyway, it's Sad Sam. Sad Sam called me and told me, said, Otis need a drummer. Would you take the job if he called you? I said, yeah, I'll do it. You know, I said, well, where are you? He said, we're in D.C. right now. He said, they go to, oh man, I don't forgot where it was supposed to go from that. But anyway.
They were flying.
Me and Otis had some words about a ticket for me coming to D.C. He didn't want to pay for the ticket for me to come. He wanted me to pay for it, and I refused to pay for it. So I don't know, I guess if you call it fate or the Lord, God, you know, might have
a little of both.
Had his hand in there, and he said, look, you stay home, you know. So anyway, I told him no, I wasn't coming if he wasn't going to pay for the ticket. He didn't pay for the ticket, so I didn't go. And about a week later, it was about a week, maybe 10 days later, I heard about his plane going down.
Plane went down in the Michigan passed, yeah.
Right, in the Michigan River. Now, during that time, well, I like to fly now, but during that time, I used to love to fly. I mean, I would have been right on that plane with him. He had a twin beach, his plane was a twin beach. It was a plane from the service. The Air Force used to use them a lot. But I've thanked the Lord a lot of days.
A lot of days,
you know, for not putting me on that plane.
Did. But Shorty, you know, how's your voice doing? I mean, time is flying by, and I'm sure that the folks at home would be interested to hear you sing. As interesting as your stories are, I'm sure they're going to be just as interesting to hear you sing a little bit. Why don't you talk about that tune that you're going to get up and sing in a minute?
You paying?
I'm paying.
All right, well, I'm singing.
I'm paying.
All right.
That's Shorty's theme. You pay, I play.
That's it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What are you singing, Shorty?
A tune from my latest CD.
Yep. Which is called?
A Young Woman and an Old Man. That's the title of the CD, the title of the tune.
If we are ready in the booth, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to present to you the great, the legendary Shor'ty Billups singing Young Woman and Old Man.
Hey, baby, I want to get next to you. Hey, baby, I want to get next to you. But you say you don't like an old man, but an old man can be good to you. Hey, baby, tell me what you gonna do. Hey, baby, tell me what you gonna do. You say you don't like an old man, but an old man can be good to you. Oh, you sitting there. Oh, you're sitting there. You're sitting there with 2 babies, 3 babies, 4 babies, maybe more. Looking all sad and everything, 'cause your man just walked out the door. Hey, baby, tell me what you gonna do. Hey, 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 baby, tell me what you gonna do. Say you don't like an old man, but come see what this old man got for you. Oh, go ahead. Hey, baby. Oh, bring it on, bring it on. Who said that? Who said that? Hey, baby, tell me what you gonna do. Hey, baby, girl, tell me what you gonna do. You said you don't like an old man, but an old man can be good to you. Hey! All right, lay it down, lay it down. What you gonna do? Hey, 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 baby, girl, tell me what you gonna do. You say you don't like an old man, but an old man can't be good for you. Hey, woo, hey, how you like this old man?
Wow, Mr. Shor'ty. Mr. Shor'ty.
Thank you.
I tell you, I bet there are a lot of people who are going to be sitting at home, hopping and bopping and jumping and strutting after that tune. And ladies and gentlemen, you just got to see why this man is a legend. But as you know, once again, time is winding down. I cannot let you off the hook without telling me and telling the folks at home how you taught Mr. Ray Charles how to drive a car.
Well, it was just a one-time thing.
Oh, that's all just a one-time thing. Okay.
I used to be a devil back in that time.
No, not you, Shor'ty.
Yes,
not.
yes,
I find that
yes.
hard to believe.
And Ray was just as big a devil as I was. So one day we'd gone to the store to pick up something. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, on our way back, I said, Ray, I said, you want to drive? He said, oh, Shor'ty Billups, you know I can't drive.
Yeah, you know
I can't drive. I said, yes, you can, man. I said, you can drive. But how can I drive, man, when I can't even see? I said, all you got to do is do what I tell you to do. I said, you do what I tell you to do, and you can drive. He said, all right, all right. So I went on a shopping center lot first.
Yep.
And I told him, put him in the seat, and the car was running. I told him, I put his foot on everything, and I put his right foot on the brake, and not the accelerator. I said, all you had to do, just pick your foot up off the accelerator. Off the brake pedal. You'll feel the car moving. So I said, and if you go to the left too far, I'll tell you back to the right. You just touch the steering wheel, and it'll pull it back to the pull it back where it's in the street where it's supposed to go. He said, is that easy? I said, just that easy. He said, all right. I said, okay, let's try it. So I went around and I got it in the car, and it was a car with a sofa seat.
Yep.
You know, with a one-piece seat.
Yep. Bench. Yep.
And yeah, bench seat, right. So I could stop the car because the emergency brake was in the center of the car. So he said, I said, you ready? He said, yeah, I'm ready. I said, all right, match the brake. He matched the brake. I said, don't kill it, man. I said, just a little bit. He said, okay. I said, put it in gear. So he picked it up, gear shift on the steering wheel. He picked it up and pulled it in gear, and he felt the car move. He said, am I moving? I said, no, not yet, not yet. I said, well, ease up off the brake. Take your foot up, ease up. Not fast, ease up. Just like you feel your watch. You know how you feel your watch? He said, yeah. I said, ease up off the pedal like that. So he did. He said, I feel us moving now. I said, yeah, you moving. So I said, to the right, just a little bit. Touch the wheel to the right. So he tapped to the right. And I said, to the left a little bit. To the left. And I said, back to the right. Right there. So he stopped it, and he was going straight. I said, okay, we ready. I said, all right, match the brake. He matched the brake and stopped. I said, turn the wheel to the left. He turned the wheel to the left. I said, ease up off the brakes. Ease up off. And I said, now, back to the right a little bit. Now, that put us on the street. So we're going along. We're only like about a block and a half from his house. So we're going along, and he going along. I said, I see some of your buddies stand on the corner. He said, do they see me? I said, not yet. I said, but they'll see you in a minute. He said, how they gonna see me? I said, you yell out the window at them, you know. Turn your head over there and look at them and call them. So he said, who's out there? I said, Gino Fletcher, saxophone player. I said, Gino is standing out there. He said, hey, Gino. And man, Gino's mouth was so big, man. He said, look at Ray driving. I told you Ray could see. I told y'all, didn't I tell y'all he could see? So that was it.
Well, here's the man who taught Ray Charles how to drive a car, but Shor'ty, you know, we are quickly running out of time, and I just have enough time to thank you for being on the show. And I really hope that you would come back again, because there is so much that we didn't even touch.
I want to thank you.
And I really want to thank you, and I want to thank your manager, Hattie Barrett, because without Hattie, I don't think that you would be here as well.
Good manager.
Thank you. Hattie is a sweetheart. So, for the folks at home, I am Frank Walsh for Shor'ty Billups. Tune in and tune on.